Someone just lost his or her life on the inside. It hits. We don't ask why were they incarcerated. Those are not questions that are commonly raised when you find out that someone was just killed or slain or lost his or her life on the inside. You think about the human being first. So public safety, I just learned that the lady is saying trade babies.
Yeah.
We're saying trade monsters.
Exactly.
We're being violent one against each other. The ladies are being sexually assaulted one another, right? These things goes counter to public safety. So when we think about a measure like this here, because maybe we may have, some Washingtonians may think that this legislation is not worth it. They may feel like, why do that? We're saying that a person's life, regardless of whether or not they are the inside or not, has value. But let's also think about the officers that work in that space. Oftentimes we cast them off as being like the bad person, right? Even though they may commit bad acts. But they also work inside a facility. So they're not exempt from being victimized either way, or even being the victims of the sexual assaults, right? Or the violent assaults.
Or the perpetrator.
Or the perpetrator, either way that road may go,
Perpetrators.
right? It can go either way. So when we're saying public safety, I just want Washingtonians for us to really see the broad scope of public safety. And if we're going into a category that we have not explored before, right? And drawing a bridge between incarceration and employment, like the vocational piece, because we understand that hospitality is a valuable field. So if someone is in the inside, they're learning these type of skills. Not only are they being happy that they're taking care of themselves, but this is a transferable skill that can go directly to gainful employment once he or she returns back to society. In essence, that does what? Increase public safety. Because unemployment goes down. So we can see the broader scope of this right here. And the final point I want to make is the numbers. We look at the waste. How much food is being tossed out? It's being completely thrown away, right? We as Washingtonians, we can save money that can be better allocated in some other areas that we need in our city, and we can fix this. So seeing the bigger picture, right, and just looking at it from that perspective, and very thankful that Councilman Pinto and her team is here and led with this legislation. This is something I believe that all Washingtonians should get behind, because at the end of the day, everyone wants to feel safe. We want to feel safe on the inside, and we want to feel safe on the outside. This is a measure that has a lot of those bells and whistles inside of it that can allow us to achieve that goal.
And can I just add, oh, sorry.
No.
I'll just add real quickly. I was just gonna say that, one, I just appreciate that, and I think that certainly, obviously, yes, we believe in people deserve nutritious food, basic level of dignity, but I think you're right that it's also helpful in sort of understanding the public safety aspect, where if you are incarcerated, you shouldn't have to be fearing for yourself because other people around you are starved of nutrition, and we all sort of, it's completely understandable, we all sort of act differently if we're malnourished, and I think there have been, we have certainly anecdotal evidence, and I know there have been some studies that have shown that as well, how important nutrition is to people being able to sort of compose themselves, and so I really appreciate that perspective, and I think certainly we are really wanting to make sure that we're setting people up for success when they leave jail, because we hear all the time, and part of, Councilmember Pinto has really been engaging a lot with folks who are incarcerated as well as returning citizens in developing this bill, and kind of as we move this forward and advance this as part of our kind of overall security C plan, but trying to make sure that, because we've heard from returning citizens of like, I want to find gainful employment, but sometimes getting access to the training that you need, there are programs that exist, sometimes it's really hard to get into them and access them, and so I think also giving people the opportunity while they're incarcerated, giving folks the opportunity to start thinking about, training up for that, I think is really something that we're excited about trying to increase that opportunity. So just want to thank you for that. And I'm really sorry, I actually am gonna have to step out. I have to go pick up a friend from the hospital. But I left my cards, so if anyone wants to reach out and continue to engage with us, additional ideas as we kind of get this bill ready. And also my colleague Anaya will be sticking around, so she can, if you have any other questions that folks have, she can, we can get back to you all as well. But thank you all so much for this event. Really appreciate it.
And I just wanted to tap onto like just another layer of the public safety in the big picture, and then go back to what Daniel asked earlier, like, you know, like why should you care, right? Like how do you get people motivated? So public safety on the inside too, and I think that there's something we can add to the experiences of, you mentioned the health of like correctional officers. They're just as system impacted as the residents of the jail, right? And so are the food service workers. So like we was want to blame like what's Airmark doing, but maybe they need some supports and some help, because a lot of these people come from our communities too. A lot of them are returning citizens, so they're just as hurt too. So when you think about how the rat or mouse or whatever the marsupial, I think his word, got on the tray, right? Just think about that, like literally just think about the absence of mind you, at your profession, at your job, to miss that, and what type of help and supports that you may need. And I think that's all supported through this legislation. And then also public safety on the outside, just wrap it up real quick. I was walking down the street and I saw a young man. I didn't know if he was struggling or not, but I just tried to engage him. And I said, you know, what do you want to do? He seemed a little lost, started talking. And like, what do you want to do? Like, I don't know, maybe I thought he was going to say, I don't know, honestly, I thought he was going to say, I don't know, right? Then I thought maybe something in the text, something, you know, like I just assumed that he needs some direction. He said, I want to be a farmer, right? So when we think about like economic development and all these sorts of things like in this legislation or the bill for success, because when you, like the big part about this is like, it's more than it means like more than just like healthy food on a train to jail. Like that's gonna go us a long way, but it also means like the investments in infrastructure, like hard and soft, that it's gonna take to get that fresh food there. And then the investment in community, and then we're not wasting food because you're investing in communities that want to become farmers, that have these businesses that maybe can't stay afloat, but they're willing to put in time to make sure the food is prepped and delivered well, right? And you're not wasting food. You can reinvest that money to you know what I mean? Like, and maybe you don't want to be a food service worker. Maybe you want to be in food policy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how you disrupt this thing. So even if you don't care, like, this is how